The following podcast is a mass media production.
Hi, I'm Josh Galindo.
And I'm Krystal Galindo. Welcome to the Going Galindo Rugrats and Renovations podcast.
A lifestyle podcast where we will offer our experience and expertise in building real, lasting wealth through renovating and flipping homes.
And the chaos that comes with balancing a family of 6, leaving nothing unsaid.
Follow our wild ride we call life and apply our lessons to your own journey.
Good morning, honey.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. We got a super duper special guest today.
I know. I'm excited.
I know you're excited because you want to jump into this space.
I know. I do. I really do.
And here's a great thing. I don't know if he's an expert and he may counter that statement, but the great thing is sometimes it's a blessing to get somebody that is in the journey.
Correct.
Because the lessons are fresh.
Yeah.
You get the expert, they forget all of the good that they know, and then they can't teach it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, they forgot that they had to learn it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So maybe an expert or someone that's figuring it out as we go. But either way, in our world at the very least, we have an expert that we think in Airbnbs.
Yep. Short-term rentals.
Excuse me, short-term rentals.
Yep, she's got it. She's got the right term.
His name is Jason Griggs. He's a successful real estate agent out here in Las Vegas, amongst many other things. Mm-hmm. So please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Josh. This is cool for me to be here. I don't know if you know this or not, but you changed my perspective very early in real estate. Wow. You were somebody, when I got into this, I looked up to you very highly. And I don't know if you remember, but you did a class on St. Rose, right above Bloom. Yep. That was, I think, my first year in real estate. And everyone was flipping houses. Everyone was wholesaling. That was like the cool thing. I'm like, does anyone have any rentals here? And I took your class, and the light bulb just went off for me. And I've been following you ever since. And so thank you.
That's incredible. And you know,
that's so good.
That is cool. What a treat. What a statement to say that. And thank you for being willing to say that. I'm a big believer in acknowledging the impact of mentors in people's lives, and then acknowledging someone that may have mentored or changed the course of, a part of a life or your life. Because then, it empowers me to want to go and do more of that.
Right.
If the world was silent around me saying, oh, you're not helping at all, I'd be like, maybe I'm not helping. But it's really good to hear. Like, you will change the course of somebody's life today. I 100% guarantee it. Somebody that will listen to this will go, you know what? And then you'll be that change in that person's life.
It'll click for them.
But on that token, I parked, I walked in, I went and got whatever, I think I was...
You got your toast.
Yeah, it was wheat toast. Yep. And I was like, I think I'm over... I was trying to justify why I got wheat toast. Maybe I was going to go at that I might have been over-caffeinated. But, and I got wheat toast and a to-go, and you walked up to me, and we talked for a minute, and so... Well, you remember that moment, so do I.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I think I asked you like 40 questions in that 2-hour meeting.
Well, here's the fun thing about today. And I was like, how do we roll with this? And the great thing that's great about this dynamic is that, some of the other guests that we have, they've got to be real structured. Some of these other shows, they've got to be structured. And we try to stick to the structure. Mm-hmm. But with this, we can kind of go both ways. So if there's something out there that you've been itching or wanting to know about me that you think would add value to the listeners, feel free to ask it this way. And then obviously for us, because this is arguably kind of a selfish episode for ourselves, we would love to learn how this short-term rental game works. Mm-hmm. And so I guess let's get into it.
If you're looking for some family fun, I know I always am. Check out Circus Circus Hotel and Casino. At Circus Circus, there's something for everyone. Have a blast inside the Adventure Dome, a 5-acre indoor theme park with 30 rides, including their newest rides, Twist and Teacups, Circus Swings, and Little Sprinter Raceway. Or act like a kid again at the Midway, playing arcade games or enjoying their free daily circus acts. Looking for a special date night? Look no further than their award-winning restaurant called The Steakhouse, voted best steakhouse in Las Vegas. Circus Circus offers affordable room rates starting at $29 per night. Book your stay today at circuscircus.com.
So you're married.
I'm married.
Kids?
1 kid, baby James, came 6 months ago.
All right.
First swimming lesson yesterday. And this is what I want to ask you. How do you have 4 kids? How do you do what you do with 4 kids? It's insane. Oh, my God.
Point over here.
Oh, thanks,
oh, my. I can't look at my phone and change the diaper one time. And then the Airbnb is a lot of work, so I'm figuring that out.
That's great. So swimming lesson?
Yeah.
Swimming lesson.
Do you have to get in the pool too?
So
where are you going?
Oh, I was right in the pool.
yeah,
All-Star
that's the
Academy
worst
in
part.
Eastern. Oh, no, I loved it.
Do you know All-Star Academy?
All-Star Academy.
Do you know it, babe?
No, I don't.
I didn't
No,
I was.
We
he
went
was
to a few different ones.
He was
that's
the
why.
youngest by far, and I was like, let's put him in the advanced class. The teacher's like,
He's a Griggs, he'll be fine.
She's like, this is his first. I'm like, don't worry, he'll be good. Just throw him in. So I'm a nut. I'm a nut with sports, and yeah, I'm pumped.
And how long have you been married?
I've been married almost 3 years.
All right, man.
I brought all my friends to Vegas. We did a Vegas wedding. Had like 140 people from New York here. and
Wow, that's
Took a
awesome.
couple, moved them here, and I got a nice little home base of friends that from back home that live here.
Seems
cool.
like you've built a really great life.
Yeah. I
You
have,
just have
Josh,
good
I have.
energy. And do you wake up every day and acknowledge that? Or and I'm not asking to tee you up for
you can
that.
ask.
I'm not teeing you up to say yes. I'm really curious. Are you conscious of how amazing your life is?
I am. I'm very blessed, but I work very hard. I work very, very hard, a lot harder than a lot of people do, and that's why I'm successful. It's not like somebody
It
just
ain't no
gave me this.
accident.
I came out here, I was 22.
Okay.
Why did you come out here?
My best friend was going to UNLV.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept coming to visit him. And I was doing like 2 trips in a month. And I'm like, there's nothing like Las Vegas.
No,
I will
there is
never, I don't think I'll ever leave because I just love the city. It's just so much opportunity.
Yeah,
And
I
the
agree.
energy.
Yeah.
And everybody's hungry in the city, which
Yeah.
makes you work better. And I love that.
Yeah, it's healthy competition.
I call it the mini America. Like you come to America as an immigrant. If you work hard, America, the system's built where I believe the system is built where it will reward you. And I feel like Las Vegas is the same way. You don't have to be formally educated. You can come here and simply work hard, and you'll make a great living.
And I think another point you brought up recently is we're a big boy city now.
Yeah.
I use that all the time, and you nailed it with that. This is like a big market.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
want to move here.
Dude, I think there's going to be a point where you can't buy a house under $500,000 here anymore.
We're
LA,
seeing it.
LA, I think it's $1.2 million. She just said
Right.
$1.3 million. Our other
Yeah.
guest that lives there.
We're seeing it, and I think the rentals are just going to continue. The rental market is the best. I've done a lot of research. It's the best market, in my opinion, in the country.
So you guys know a little bit more about each other than I know about you. So I do know that you have a couple short-term rentals. How many do you have?
So I have 7 short-term rentals.
Okay.
Wow.
6 in Las Vegas, Henderson area, and 1 in Kansas City.
Okay, I didn't even know that you could do short-term rentals in Las Vegas. Like,
So
you're
you
competing
said
with the
Henderson.
hotels,
And
right?
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
Henderson. So they're
okay.
the whole process of this is you need a special license.
Okay.
To each house that you want to do a short-term rental,
Yeah.
you have to apply for a license on it.
Okay.
And then the city will approve it or disapprove
Okay.
based on your application.
Okay. And so what do you look for when you're getting them here? I'm just
There's
curious.
a lot of things. So I'm from Long Island, New York. Moved
Okay.
here about 10 years ago. And the reason why I got into this was everyone wanted to come visit me.
Okay.
And I didn't have houses to house these people. And I'm just like a fun person. I wanted to design things that were fun for my friends to
Yeah.
come use.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
That's where the idea came from.
Okay. That's
So
cool.
I coach a lacrosse team in Henderson, and we have tournaments. And I was like, we have all these people coming, but there's no real hotels in Henderson. There's Green Valley Ranch, but in deeper Henderson, the Fiesta closed.
Agreed.
And so there was a big avenue there of opportunity to grab some short-term rentals, and that's
Wow.
what we did.
That's a good observation. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not in that space, so I'm not looking for those opportunities. But when you just described that, there is a severe lack of short-term places to stay once you get past Green Valley Ranch.
yeah,
what's-
like what are you gonna do? Go to Boulder City or stay? at-
Right. And
Right.
Even, yeah, and even out there,
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest hotel can't. Oh, I guess you have a few out there that are. have
What
some,
railroad pass?
yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I'd rather stay in Jason's.
I know, me too.
So yeah, we had this idea, and then I got involved. I was shown the system how it worked. Somebody in my brokerage developed a system to manage these things. And I'm a big buy and hold guy.
Yeah.
I've never been a big flipper, and that's when I met you. You were like, yeah, you should be buying rentals too. And then my rentals did really well. And these are kind of rentals on steroids. They're just they're better. They're a lot more work.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
will say that. Everybody, it's just like go buy an Airbnb.
Right.
They are a ton
Yeah.
of work. And so the cool part for me is I stink at the designing part of it. I have good ideas. I'm not able to execute redoing the houses. So I've been able to partner with some really cool people, which you know.
Yeah.
Andre.
Rattle them off.
Yeah.
Andre
Laska and Tyler Hubbs, who...
Two smart, good guys.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's great. What you have there is really beautiful to witness.
And they're just awesome people. And I think one thing that's not talked about in Las Vegas is the real estate world that we live in. Everybody's very helpful with one another. I was a new person. I had this idea, and I went to them, and they gave me an opportunity, and it ended up working out really well.
How great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's incredible.
That's really cool to hear.
So just to tell a little about us. So our understanding, and I think this is a good point that we could get into, is we bought a little place in Bryan Head with the true intention. It was $120,000 at the time. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't care if this thing goes to 0 or goes to $1 million. We now have a little place for our family to be able to use and visit in Bryan Head. Mm-hmm. We were often visiting, and then Krystal and I we're driving back, and she goes, we're not coming back for 3.5 months. And I'm like, 3.5 months? Like, oh my gosh.
Like, there's soccer games every weekend. Like, there's life.
Yeah. And I said, well, throw it up on Airbnb. Long story short, Airbnb stole my place in Bryan Head from me.
Yeah.
It booked out like immediately, just, because we built it for ourselves, which I think as a tip to the listeners, and I'm sure you could capitalize on this, I think that's a big part of the Airbnb game.
Yeah.
Everything in life is visual and aesthetics and beauty.
Yeah.
And the way you guys do things is over the top. And so, but go ahead.
That's what we did. It was over the top. We really made it something special. And it booked out like crazy. The average rental night was like $70 a night. And we were like, we're gonna double it because we don't want any riffraff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because it was so beautiful, we literally got booked out at double what Airbnb had suggested.
Yep.
Anyway, that is the only experience that I have. What I do, or the only unit that I have that is an Airbnb out of all of my rentals. And what I do understand is, I agree with you, and Krystal needs to speak to this. It is not passive.
No.
And I think that's the misconception. That's what I love to talk about here.
Okay.
Is I love making money. I love talking about making money, but I love talking about the real work that goes into making money.
Yep.
These guys with these bait and these clickbait type statements where it's like, go buy an Airbnb and then sit back and collect $60,000 a month. Hey, honey, how much did we get this month on Airbnb? And she hear in the other room, $60,000, and then he gets in his Lamborghini and drives off. It's like, come on, let's talk about the grit, the hard work that this takes, because that's the added value. So I know they're not hands off.
I'm glad you brought it up because they are so much work. I own rentals and I love rentals because it's not as much work as flipping. It's very easy. You can make a call if something goes wrong. This is like running a hotel. That's the best analogy I could give you. It's customer service and then with construction on top of that. Because if things go wrong,
you're now the in-house handyman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
maybe not you, but yeah.
I would say the biggest portion of like deciding which house to pick is it's very important what type of style house and where the location is. Because if you get one bad neighbor, which I've had, your business is ruined. They could ruin your entire headache. It's a headache after headache. They're complaining
every time. Yeah.
Dealing with your guests.
Yeah.
And so all my Airbnbs have not been slam dunk home runs. It's still a process of I got it up and running, but it's maintaining that. You got to maintain the aura of it and making sure that they have a good experience, because if they don't, then it's shot.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that your candidness around that. So I'm wondering how we frame this so that we can build the most easy picture for our listeners. Mm-hmm. Do we go through, does Krystal say, because Krystal really wants to go and build 3 Airbnbs in 3 major cities like
like Nashville,
Scottsdale.
Yeah.
So do we go, this is what we want, and you can coach us through it, or should we analyze a few of your deals?
We could do both. Well, I think what you're trying to do, what I'm eventually trying to do, I built Griggs Vacation Rentals. I'm releasing it this week, and the sole purpose of it was for me and my family to use, as well as my friends. Mm-hmm. So if I have a friend who wants to come to here's my house. You could rent it through my website. You could do everything. I'll send you the code, and you could go use it. And now I want to expand it to other places that I like to visit with my family. And that's the real reason why I'm doing this.
Gosh, what a great idea. You're like the man.
I'm trying.
No,
But
isn't that a great feeling? My family, I want to be the man.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to be the guy that's thinking of things, that's creating fun experiences. That's what I love about your energy.
Yeah.
You just vibe, man.
My wife, she's like, no more ideas today. She's always like,
Oh my gosh, I can relate
hates
to that.
Airbnb right now. She's been here in Airbnb for the past 2 years. She's like, but I just brought her to my big one. We're releasing San Gabriel. It's 12,000 square feet.
Oh my God.
It's a monster.
Okay, you know what? You pick one that's fun to
monster.
talk
Wait, can I
about.
ask you a question really quick? Do you self-manage or do you have a property manager for
Great
it?
question. So within our brokerage, we have a property management team, but I'm very involved in doing it. Yes.
Okay.
I think that's
curious.
the best thing you could do right now because you want to know. I always say this about flipping. And people are like, well, you know, because you go on Instagram here, you know, if you could pay someone $12 an hour, why would you do it if you're worth $50 an hour? Yeah, I believe in that concept. Of course, I get it. But there's so much value in doing the $12 an hour job for an X amount of time so that when you go to hire out that job, you know what things cost, you know what kind of time, energy, and effort it takes. So one, you don't get screwed, and then two, you understand your business.
Yeah.
So to hear you still be involved, I think speaks volumes.
It's your house, right?
Right.
And the second part of it is I'm bringing in investors who I'm friends with, but it's their money too now. So
Yeah.
it's like I have
It's
to
business,
business. I have to overprotect it, and so that's what I've done.
So is there a lot of pressure in that? And I know that when I've worked with investors, I valued their money more than I valued my own.
I've watched your podcast. I couldn't agree with it more. It's very stressful when you have, because there's a lot of outside avenues that could take away. You could get that license taken away, and then what? It could be out of your control because the party throws. I mean, the guest throws a crazy party, and now the city's like, oh, no more. You can't do this. You can't do this anymore. And
so they can pull the license
at any time.
And that one of the ways to, I mean, these are all good tips.
Yeah.
So one of the ways to, okay, let's talk about two or three ways that it could get taken. Obviously, you just mentioned one.
Yeah, the loud parties if you don't obey by the rules. So each house, based on bedrooms, there's only a certain amount of guests that are allowed to be there. So our big one, we're only allowed to have, it's like 12,000 square feet. We're only allowed to have 16 guests in the house. So you could have guests, as many guests as you want to a limit during the day, but sleeping, 16 is the max.
Okay.
And they could come in at any time and they could check.
I was just going to ask you, how do they hold you accountable for that?
They can come. They'll knock right on your door and say, how many people in here?
No way.
Yeah, so it's very, very strict.
Okay, times of noise?
We have noise meters in every house, inside and outside.
Wow.
So if it goes above a certain decimal, we get notified. We have cameras set up.
No
we call.
way.
Wow.
You guys are doing this.
Yes.
This is as right as you get.
Yeah, I mean, this is big
You're
boy.
going to be a millionaire from this,
I hope
if you're
so.
not already.
I hope so.
No, I can tell.
It's very structured.
Okay. So the meter thing.
I'm like, that's way more complicated than our
Just because of the rules within the city of
that
Henderson.
license is, I think that Airbnb license is going to be up there with having like a dispensary license.
Yeah. I agree.
Having a strip club license.
I agree.
Strip club, I don't know if that's the right term, but
just a
whatever
license
it is.
for something
like a
that's restricted.
gaming license.
Yeah.
There's some valuable, the values in a lot of these licenses, and so because they're only going to they can't give out unlimited amounts.
Right.
No,
So
there's only 130 short-term rental licenses in Henderson. There's 12,000 total in Las Vegas and Henderson combined. So there's a lot of illegal ones going on.
Yeah.
A lot of illegal ones going on.
Now, are they actively shutting down illegal ones?
Yes.
They're pursuing them.
Yeah.
How long does the licensing take?
It takes 2 weeks.
Okay.
They come and inspect your house.
Interesting. So it's not give us some good perspective on actually. Is it challenging? Is it difficult? Is it stressful? Is it expensive? Is it
all the above?
Hit me. Give me some details.
So when you apply for this license, you have to buy the house. You're in escrow, and you might not get the license. Somebody else can swoop in and get it before you, which has happened to me. And so when
you learned it all, bro.
Yeah. So when you buy this house, you're sweating it out, which Andre and Tyler have gone through with me. And the next door neighbor could apply a day before you, and then there's a radius circle that 2 Airbnbs can't be in a 1,000 square foot radius.
Oh.
So they protect it very well,
okay.
and it's very strict. And this is in Henderson. The new laws in Las Vegas, we don't know, Clark County, what are those going to be like yet, but we're going to guess that it's going to be very similar to the way Henderson has it set up.
Okay. Is that the same rules in Kansas City too?
No. So in other cities, there's no rules.
Yeah, Brian had. There's
no rules.
There's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as there's a rule or two, But what you're describing, like not even close.
No, not even close.
So it's a catch-22, right? So I'm glad there's rules because Las Vegas is one of the biggest touristy cities. So
Yeah.
you could go and buy them in Kansas City. There's no rules, but you're not going to get that traffic that we're getting.
Right,
So you
right.
gotta
There's give and take.
There's give and take. And we just tried to balance it out and see which model works for which city.
So you've got 7.
7, yep.
1 outside of Vegas, 6 here.
Yep.
Okay. So was it like 1, 2, 3 up and going, or was 1 establish,
Going next.
did learn the lessons next, or are you blitzing and just going? I'll take my bruises where I get
This
them.
is a good story. So my first one I brought an investor from New York. We bought it. The neighbor called, complained that we were doing construction. They came in. They shut us down for 7 months. They said they didn't like the construction.
Waiting for permits and all
Waiting
that crap.
for permits,
Having to
doing
get
it right.
blueprints, right?
Yep.
Mechanical inspection, plumbing inspection.
You name it, I had to go through it.
Right.
And that put a bad taste in my mouth early.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't do this every
How long
time.
ago was this?
This was a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So my poor investor, 6 months, no money, just sitting there, empty house. And then I got Andre involved because I knew that he was amazing just with the designs. And the one I have with him right now is one of my better ones. And then I brought in Tyler, and he's amazing too.
Tyler's unbelievable.
He's ridiculous.
Tyler missed his calling. If he's listening, I think I tell him he should be building custom homes.
He's
With his
Seriously,
designs.
He shouldn't be doing flips.
The
He's-
guts he's got is just, and then
Yeah.
he just takes my vision and just puts
Executes.
it. Yeah, he's just like, all right, we're gonna blow this out of the water, and so we'll bring up Davis Wright. So Davis Wright, we bought it right outside a little area in Inspirata.
Davis Wright's one of the houses you're
Okay.
referring to.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the address, Davis
Yep.
Wright, we call it. And it's the fastest booking short-term rental we did. We have almost $200,000 in revenue booked
Holy cow.
through the end of December.
That's crazy.
And that's not even full?
No, that's about 80%.
Wow.
And
My
so
goodness.
I was like looking at the numbers as it's coming in. I'm like texting. I'm like, dude, we killed this one.
That's fantastic.
And then we're doing our bigger one.
Hold on. So let me stay where I was going with this. So the first one was a disaster.
Yep.
You stayed the course. You didn't give up. Mm-hmm. You wanted to. Sounds like it.
I wanted to.
Sounds like your
not
story
doing it.
wanted to, but here
I
you are
did.
sitting, and you
I did.
obviously
Yeah.
didn't.
I did, and then I brought Andre in, and the two with Andre, no problems. I tell him all the time, like, dude, you lucked out. So
He has the best luck ever, Andre.
Yeah.
the best. I'm glad because I got some luck on my side.
I always said I'd be lucky than good.
Yep. So and then I started. Now it takes about a good 6 months to really dial it in, and now they're smooth sailing.
Are you so excited about the big one?
I am. I'm like very excited.
Okay, so what are the biggest? Because it's a lot of it's design. I don't want to say a lot of it's design.
It is.
I don't know if it's a lot of it is design.
I think it is. When I'm searching for an Airbnb, like it's like you could go to a nice hotel, but you want fun, cute, different. Like
this is the perfect
I think that's
consumer
important.
right here.
I am the.
If you have any questions on Airbnb, you just ask Krystal.
Well, the model I based it off of, I make my rentals, I know we talked about, very nice. Because you can charge more money and
Yep.
then they'll stay
Yeah.
there forever.
Yep.
But with these, you want to make them nice, but not too nice because they're going to get ruined.
Right.
Okay.
They're
So
gonna get abused.
They're going to get abused. They're going to
Yeah.
get broken. I have no problem with that, but that's just the nature of the game.
beast,
Yeah. And so this big one we're doing, we're taking a 12,000 square foot house and trying to make it really nice, but we don't want to make it too nice because there's going to be some parties in there and the people are going to crush it. We
Right.
know that. And so to go off your theme, our designer, Brittany, she came up with a Vegas theme. And so each room is a different hotel.
Oh, I love that.
Each room is a different hotel. MGM Grand.
You were just
Because I wanted to do Nashville. I want to do like a Mean Girls one, and I want
That
I love
sells.
the theme.
That sells.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, we're going to put that on. People are going to
keep
hop all
going.
over
Keep going.
this.
Tell me more about the design though. So
So-
each room's a different hotel.
So one day I just walked in. My thing with them is I don't get involved.
Okay.
I'll handle it. I set it up.
You'll
you
execute.
do your thing. They do their thing, and I love that. And then I'll take over and I'll help run it once it's up and running. And I just walked in one day and I was blown away. Like they
Really?
killed it. They did every room is a different hotel. The Luxor, the MGM with the green, and then the Luxor with the pyramids and the Egyptian.
Oh, that's such a
so
cool
that's the
idea.
theme of the house, and it's got a full basement. It's got every game you could think of: full volleyball court, beach volleyball, basketball, pool. You name it, this house has it. And so that's what we're trying to bring. Family reunions out there. If people want to do like a small corporate thing, you could go there and stay. and we're very excited about it.
That
And
sounds
we can have
very
16
cool.
people there.
You could sleep there, so
Sleeping.
you could hold a small event within reason.
Yeah.
Do you have the sound meters on that one?
We do. We have
How
a lot
are
of
the
them.
neighbors there?
The reason why we like this house, it's on a corner, so there's no neighbor behind, and there's only one neighbor to the left.
Nice.
So we had a little issue. Somebody was complaining about a little construction noise, and we had to get it figured out.
I'm so shocked how much construction complaints you're having.
Yeah, like
And these are non-HOA areas too.
Crazy.
I think they just like to break chops, the city, to make sure that you're doing the right thing.
But do they know what? Oh, the city was snooping, not
Yeah.
neighbors.
Well, the neighbors
complain to the city. Okay.
Exactly.
When you're selling a home, you want to make a great first impression, and the House of Vegas understands this. There is no better way to make that impression than with high-quality furniture that fits the house perfectly. Give my good friend Thomas at the House of Vegas a call for your home staging needs. They know time is money and will act quick. Their number is 310-503-3611.
Okay, guys, I'm going to take a second to talk about one of our sponsors, Desert Radiology. I know from personal experience how important early detection really is. That's why I recommend Desert Radiology. They have been serving the community for over 55 years and have convenient locations all across the valley. Not only are they a trusted radiology partner of 12 area hospitals, but they are the official imaging partner for all of the Las Vegas sports teams, like the Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, Lights, Aviators, UNLV, and the Henderson Silver Knights. To learn more, visit their website at www.desertrad.com or make an appointment at 702-759-8600.
Go ahead, baby. Hit them.
No.
I can sit here. I'm going to keep firing them away.
Keep going.
No, it's
keep
good.
going.
This is why I'm here, and I'm happy to answer. And
I was just gonna say, because I feel like, to me, the challenges that I'm thinking of is like, okay, I want to do Nashville, I want to do Scottsdale, but I know for Brian had to like get all the furniture, we had to get it here, and Josh had to drive it there. Like, you can't do that with Nashville and Scottsdale, and I can't live there for a month to wait for all the stuff to come in. So it seems like doing it here is easier, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
I would recommend that. I did the one in Kansas City just
Yeah,
because
how
I
did
wanted
that-
to try it, and it's not as good as Vegas.
No.
Not even close.
Because you just don't have.
Is it still smoking a buy and hold, a general buy and hold? Or is it comparable?
Over triples, not the
Kansas City one. I'm talking specifically
I would
about
say
Kansas City.
1.5 over a normal rental over the year. So good, but not unbelievable like
Got it.
Vegas. Vegas is probably 3x, 4x
Sure.
for a normal rental.
Okay.
I would recommend that if you're going to do it.
Let me explain that. If you don't understand what he just said, they're 3x over regular rental. So if you have a regular rental, you buy it for $100,000, easy math. You make $1,000 a month on it. What Jason is saying is that the Airbnbs are you could buy it for $100,000 and it's 3 to 4x. So
Correct.
instead of making $1,000, you're making 3 to 4,000.
And in Kansas City, it's like $1,500.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's popping an extra $500 over what he thinks.
Because it's short term instead of long term.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
And so just to clarify some of those technicalities.
What I would recommend for you is if you're going to do this, do it in places that you are going to go to. And use yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go buy one in, let's just say, Iowa, for example, and you're never going to go there and check up on it consistently. You need to check up on these things constantly.
Yeah.
Once a month. And if you're not going to, then I wouldn't recommend it.
Got
do
it. That
Because you
does
can
make
do it
sense.
anywhere. You can do it anywhere in the country. And the lady who teaches the course to get your license to do this, she's 50, one in each state. So she's proficient in finding these
You know
things.
what just sounds... Our reactions are describing what this type of investing in real estate is, and I think it's fun.
Yeah,
This
it is fun.
There's probably stress and headache.
Oh, yeah.
But to me, it seems like this is a fun type of real estate investing.
Yeah.
It's fun if you want to make it the way you want to use it. So, like, I bought that mansion because I'm going to use that thing. I'm bringing my lacrosse team there in the summer. I'm bringing my family,
He's
my
the man.
friends come out. Like, I'm using that thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. So, yeah, if you're going to use it to your advantage, I would recommend this 100%.
So
That makes sense.
We are gonna. We ran into a financing snag. I'm buying a 5,000 square foot cabin in Bryan Head. It's got the sickest views. Bryan Head's gonna double in size. It's it literally it's about 1,500 acres now. 1,700 acres just got bought. They're trying to include the 1,700 into the existing footprint of Bryan Head, so they would literally double the size. I believe Bryan Head is on its way to being a mini Park City.
Okay.
So I'm like, I've always obsessed over having a cabin on this hill overlooking giant steps.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then you guys inspired me. You, Tyler, Andre, got my wheels spinning and going. You know what? I think I should pull the trigger. It's a big purchase. I think it's going to work. But more importantly, I think when this thing goes Park City, that this is a $3.5 million cabin instead of $1.5 million. So I think at the very worst, it's that. At the worst, I go backwards a few grand a month, but I get a great place to stay. So the other niche that I think I'm serving, that I'm just curious on serving niches, is if most people that buy these big mansions or these big cabins up there, they're just such ballers that they're like, I'm not Airbnb-ing this thing. So there's not a lot of that product up there where you could go and put 4 or 5 families in one space and charge $1,000 a night, which is no big deal. So I feel like I'm going to be serving that niche.
Yep. So that's what you just said. That's how we felt with this Henderson one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have the biggest one. We have the biggest one in Henderson, and the next biggest one is way smaller. It's only like 5,000 square feet.
Well, I'm like 12,000 square feet. I didn't even know that. Like,
I don't think I've even been in a 12,000
I know.
square
I don't
foot
think so either.
It's crazy. It's 2 houses on one plot of land. So it's got the full casita, which is a whole separate another house. But yeah, to your point, I would take advantage of that for sure.
Okay. I just want to ask all this. I don't even know what questions to ask, though.
Ask.
Okay, financing. What? Oh, well, yeah. But, okay, so forget about Bryan. If something pops in my mind, I'll bring it back up. How do you secure, how do you buy these? And then how do you obviously want to get long-term financing on them?
So we'll buy them cash.
Or maybe you don't.
2 ways. We'll buy them cash with hard money, and then we'll refi them into a rental program. The issue becomes where a lot of lenders do not lend on Airbnbs.
Right.
So you need to do it before it gets up and running because they could come check. So it's kind of like you're leasing to a friend, and then
things
change in your life, and you'll do a short-term rental.
Okay.
Or you could just go the conventional route.
20% down.
20% down up front. But the problem is the 30-day window where you get in that loan, someone could grab your license.
Right. That's what I was going to say. If you buy it cash, then you can get the license and everything quicker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know.
I know.
It's made me want to do it
Let's
here.
do one.
Almost.
Let's do it.
Would you like to do one here, baby?
Yeah, I would. I totally would. I love that.
If I show you the numbers, you would be hooked.
Oh,
Because
sure.
I know the way you are, and you would be. It's just like a rental on steroids. It's the best analogy I could use. It's just more work.
Yeah. But I think it being here would make it a little bit easier. Sometimes I feel like my hands are tied when it's not here, when it's 3 hours away.
Very good point.
On Eastern Sunday when the cleaner canceled, it's like, what do I do? I can't go clean it myself,
That's a great point. And let's share that just because we have the experience of Bryan Head. This is the only experience I've had. I'm not here to act like I know what I'm talking about perfectly, but having an Airbnb out of Las Vegas, we have issues like Krystal just described. Cleaner doesn't show up. Guest comes. They're pissed that it's not clean. Now we're trying to negotiate with the guest going, we'll give you $100 off if you wash the sheets. We'll do this or that. Or when that guy rolled up there and
the key didn't.
3 keys on the key ring. Okay? There's one that's for a master lock, so it's this big. Okay, and there's 2 regular keys.
You couldn't figure it out.
Dude, the guy keeps using the wrong key. So much so that I think that the thing's locked or broke. So I have to call a locksmith in Cedar City because this guy's threatening to leave and he's a 9-day reservation. I'm like, I don't want to lose that. So I call a place in Cedar City. They send a locksmith up there.
Yeah.
I have to let this guy into my personal place, which nobody's been in there.
So he doesn't leave us a bad
review. And the locksmith shows up to the unit. He goes back to the unit. I hear them on the phone. I hear tss, tss, which I'm thinking he's WD-40 in the lock. The guy puts the key in, turns it.
And you heard the guest go, oh.
I didn't try that key.
I didn't try that key. He didn't try the other key.
I know.
Oh, my God.
So, I think there's some, as you grow, I'd love to have you on again where you tell us about maybe some of the ways you overcome. I'm sure you're going to venture out of Vegas, or maybe you're not. Actually, it's a great question. Are you going to venture out of Vegas?
I think so, yes. But you need the boots on the ground. I would never do this unless I had somebody in each place
like
to
a
help.
team,
You need
wherever
a system.
it's at.
You need a team, which you guys definitely have. You could do it. But I think it's the cool part, I could partner with better people. Like you guys are amazing in construction. So for you guys to design a house and then partner with somebody that could operate it, I can operate it, and it's a good little team system.
Yeah, you could just identify another Andre or Tyler in another market,
correct,
and then bring your value, which is thankfully all tucked in your mind, and then their value is on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, and you could build this everywhere.
That's what I'm hoping. I just think the rental model is amazing. For everybody, I've done so well just buying little rentals here and there, and the equity's growing, and it's not brain surgery, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it. It's easy.
It's very easy.
It really is easy. It takes some balls and some risk, but it really is an easy model. And what I love, and you said you listen to the podcast, so you probably heard me say this, net worth is a bragging right or it's a bitching right. Okay, so you actually used the word equity on this one, because if you're backwards on a house, you're at the party going, man, I'm flipped $100,000, and you're bitching about it. If you're up $100,000, you're at the party going, yeah, I bought this, whatever, now it's up $100,000. But nonetheless, that equity can't buy you a cup of coffee.
Right, right.
So
true.
That's why it's either a bitching right or it's a bragging right. Cash flow is all that matters. I don't care if I'm worth zero. If I bring in $100,000 a month, I can live like a billionaire. Yeah. The only difference is that they would have a private plane, an island, and probably a place in Manhattan. But I could literally do, with $100,000 a month, I could arguably do every single thing a billionaire can do on this planet, other than three I just mentioned.
That's such a good point. Now, let me ask you this, because you've been in Vegas longer than I have. I don't understand why investors don't buy more rental properties.
I think they get hooked. I honestly think there's so much keeping up with the Jones on how much you made that people get hooked on the income, and it's easy to do. I thankfully never did it because I got my teeth kicked out in the recession, so I lived in a very scared space where I was like, if I'm going to make $300,000, I'm going to live on $100 and pay $200,000 towards my house, because we bought our last house cash and we got a line of credit on it, and I wanted to keep it at zero. So I'd go, okay, I make $300, live on $100. Pay down the house, and then if a rental opportunity came over, I would buy that. But then the next year I'd make $400, I'd still live on $100, and I'd deploy $300.
Yeah.
And the next year I would live on. People didn't think. Here's what's funny. You'll find this interesting. People think I tripped and fell yesterday and became rich. I've been making really spectacular money for years. But what they're starting to witness is my cash flow game is putting me in a position to live more abundantly. I could have lived this way 8 years ago, easy.
You're a good saver,
but
you're smart.
But I was deploying the capital, and so I think people get hooked on that instant gratification of going, I got $500,000 in the bank, or I made $1 million, or And what's funny about the flipping business, I feel like the flipping business takes your money and you never get it back.
You don't. You never see it.
You never see it. It's always in the next house. Yep. It's always in the next house. You make $1 million and you make $2 million and you deploy $2 million next year. And then what ends up happening is that you miss all these beautiful opportunities to park it. And as you know and I know, the market's done this.
Yeah.
So you had an opportunity to park it here and park it here and park it here and park it here, and then take advantage of this. These guys that just kept throwing it back in, they missed that whole boat.
One thing that I do that I'll piggyback, you brought up a few times when speaking, I like to pay down my rental. I like to get my first 5 that I bought, they're almost paid off.
Good for you.
They're almost paid off. And no one will ever talk me out of grabbing that equity and going to buy more. Those 5 are my safety net.
Yep.
Those are
smart.
Guaranteed no matter where the market goes.
So smart.
And that is something I will never be talked out of. And you, at that class, I was like thinking, should I do that? And you were like, I have this many rentals paid off.
Yeah.
So thank you for
my pleasure. And I honor and commend you for doing that. I think I got to a point where I had so many cash that it was almost financially irresponsible to not pull on some of them.
Right.
But it was still very modest. It was still very modest.
Yeah.
Like less than 30%. Like is how much debt I have on my entire portfolio.
That's amazing.
But I don't want to be the guy. I wouldn't mind being the guy if I own these all cash. I don't want to be the guy who goes, I own 250 doors, and then someone goes, well, how much do you cash flow? And I'm like, $20,000 a month.
Right, it's not impressive.
No, I want to own 100 doors and cash flow $100,000 a month.
Yes.
Because I want 100 headaches. And because when I'm 30, which is what there's an argument here, and these are all valid arguments, but it's all for each person's life. Me, I have 4 kids. I think you're a prideful person, not in a negative way, but I bet you would never want to come home and look at your amazing wife and your children and go, Dad made bad real estate decisions. We have to move.
100%. And I just love the stories you keep bringing up, because you said your house is your house and that will never be touched. I follow the same way. I'm paying off my house quick, as fast as I can, because no matter what, my family is not being affected.
Right.
The market could crash tomorrow. We still have a place to live in.
Yep.
We start over, no big deal.
Yeah.
But my kid is not going to be moving into an apartment. Or something like that. Another good tip that I grabbed.
And the way that I did it, so I'll tell you, is my desire to keep growing and experiencing better quality of life. I understood that buying that next house that was going to bring that to me, to save $1.5 million would have been very difficult, because that's what I paid for the house. So I just reversed it. I said, okay, how much is the payment? I was like, well, the payment's $6,000 a month. I was like, well, I'll just go buy 6, and at the time I was blessed and lucky. I was able to go and buy $600,000 to $130,000 homes that kicked out $1,000 a month, cash. So then those guaranteed that I could always make the payment on this house, and I went and borrowed $1 million, and then put down 400,000, whatever it was. But and now that's my safety net. But I just want to be transparent, because I don't want to be misunderstood that my house is paid for cash. It's not, but I have a mechanism in place that ensures that no one can ever take it from me.
And that's so smart, because you see a lot of these people in this game. They do crazy things. They go buy 50 houses at once. I'm like, if something goes wrong, dude, like, you're gonna be all right. But I've been slow, steady, moving up as I go. And I think this short-term rental business is kind of untapped here, because there's no really rules yet. And once they put these rules in, I think we're going to be a little ahead of the curve. And I got some great people in place to help me build it. And I'm looking to work with other people, as many as I can. It's all about the house. The house is very important. You find the perfect house in the right location, it will flourish.
Yeah, I think because you're early to the game and you're a pioneer in the game. I don't know anybody else that has as many Airbnbs in Las Vegas as you do. You'll probably continue to lead that pack, because the synergy around you will be that Jason's the guy, and then people will go to you, and you get to capitalize on helping them, and your hand is in every pot.
It feels good to be like that, because I've been around a little bit, and I haven't gotten, I would say, popular, but I started posting more about Airbnbs, and now people are like, come talk about it here. Can you help me? And so that's when I realized this is something that people want to learn, because I have rentals. I post about my rentals. I get no action. Nobody cares. I make $800 on my condo. Nobody cares about that. But when I show my Airbnbs and how much that's producing, they're like, oh, we want to learn about that. So it's like the sexy thing right now that I'm in, and that's okay.
Okay, so let's talk a few more things that are negative. They're not negative, but maybe just something that maybe not be talked about. Liability. How do you overcome that?
Yeah.
You got the highest insurance policy that you could get. Insurance companies do have short-term rental policies, so you just get that on your
Do you capitalize on the Airbnb program as well? Are you aware of it?
I'm not aware of.
The only reason I am is that we had a guest slip up in Bryan Head.
Oh boy!
And they tried to come after our insurance.
Yeah.
And then Airbnb, Airbnb got involved. Did you contact Airbnb?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Somehow
they have their okay. I know what you're saying.
I'm sure you knew it once I was getting into it.
They have their own little policy. They're kind of like mediators. They're like a little judge, like in the middle, right? They have the host, and then you have the guest, and they're like, all right, this guy's full of crap. We're gonna go this way with a reward or award, and so it's nice to have. But all they're doing is they're just a third party collecting money, small little fees.
Yeah.
They're like Uber, over and over again.
Well, they if it says anything, they stepped up for us, and I never heard from the.
We never heard again.
They did.
And they
want your money. They want your house to keep flowing.
Well, and that guest that it wasn't even a guest that was on the reservation. I think that was like the biggest thing.
You think that was a big part of it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to list every guest that's in it, and that guest wasn't listed, so she wasn't technically supposed to be there.
So liability, you just insurance up.
Insurance up is as high as you could go, and There's like little things that you could do. You don't want to put like stupid things in your house. You don't want to put a trampoline in your house.
No.
Outside. That's like a recipe for
Next to the
disaster,
pool.
right? You don't want to do this stuff like that because people are idiots and they get drunk
Yeah.
and they do stupid things.
Yeah.
So you want to protect the house, make sure that it's safe. But yeah, just insurance.
Do you have some with pools?
Oh yeah.
But that's scary.
The pool, the Davis Wright, it has one of the nicest
Yeah.
pools that I've.
But is a pool scary? I mean, what are we?
No, I don't think that like. But if you start adding things to the pool, like the swings and the crazy, you can jump off the balcony into the pool.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
where
You start paying attention to that kind of
exactly.
stuff. Okay, so we talked about liability, and then how do you do you just build in? They go in there and they just go ballistic and ruin everything. You just build that in the model, or is there some insurance there with Airbnb as well?
You have. I'll tell a funny story. So one of our sinks, the one I have, it fell through. And I called Andre. I'm like, dude, our sink broke, and he was like, not mad, but I could tell it was bothering him. And he's like, those sinks don't go through. Like, he's like, we're going after that person who broke the sink. And I'm like, well, you don't want to do that because then they're gonna leave you a bad review. They're trying to come up. So it's like it's worth it to just pay the $150 to fix it. Just all in this business, but it's just funny because I could tell it was bothering him. It's
That's
like
so
they broke
funny.
my sink. I'm like, it's all right, we'll fix it.
I know. Sometimes I get like that too. I like take it personally. I'm like, they're trying to pull one over on me. I'm not gonna let them do it.
Right.
Josh's like, shut up. Just
Yeah, they
get
took
it
that
fixed.
hairdryer.
Just
and
let it
she
go.
was so bent.
I had like a nice hair dryer there, and they took it and swapped it with their cheap one. I'm like, what the what?
They'd be taking blankets home
Yeah.
and shit. Crystal gets all bent. I'm like, Amazon will their blanket up there.
Oh, I got it. I got it back. It just came yesterday.
No
yeah,
way.
it did.
Oh,
It
That's
did.
so
gosh.
funny. Yeah, but, you know, it's just like your baby. You look at the
Yeah.
reviews, you're looking to see, make sure everything's going good, and that's why they're successful.
Wow.
So okay, so you said you're starting. What is it, Griggs?
Griggs Vacation Rentals.
Okay, so do you still have it on Airbnb, VRO?
Great question.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
But the reason why I built it is just for my friends.
For your friends
So
to use
I-
that platform.
So if there's an empty slot, you could slide them in and they can just go in and book easily that way.
Correct.
Okay.
It's still my house. I have full control.
Sure. Right.
Even though I use a property management company, it's my house. And if I want to book it this weekend because my mom is coming, she gets first priority over the guest, and that's kind of the rule I've made with my investors. But I want them to use it too. If their family and friends want, no problem. The money is not the full reason why I'm doing this. It's great, but I love moving people here, and I love having friends visit
and being
here.
able to provide that.
Yes,
That's
why I do it.
How cool.
What's cool though is like you guys work together on this. This is your family business.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, she doesn't really love this business.
Is she working?
Yeah, she works.
What
She's
is she?
a pharmaceutical sales rep. She was
Okay.
a teacher. We were both teachers. We moved out here, and we were both teachers. And I got into this, and she does pharmaceutical sales rep. And she doesn't really get involved in my real estate world. She does. I think it's just like too much stress. It's a lot of money. She just doesn't want to.
How does that dynamic work?
Yeah.
Just for the listeners, I think it's a great question. Does she stay away from it and trust your judgment?
Yes.
Or okay.
That's the way, 100%. She trusts it. She knows I do this every day. She'll pop in the houses and say, hey, this is great. Give me ideas. But I would love for her to kind of get her involved like you do. I think she would love it.
Do you think she would?
I do.
Yeah.
I think she would like the design portion of it. But
Yeah,
now
that's the fun part.
She's a mom now, and so we're doing that.
Right.
But these Airbnbs are just like they're fun projects. So everyone is a different roller coaster ride, and so I'm looking forward to bringing her in some of them.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got success now at this point. I would say expert. I
Yeah,
started off with I didn't know how to.
You didn't know.
Nah, you're an expert, bro.
Yeah,
you are.
for
You may
sure.
not have 100 of these, but it sounds like with the knowledge you've got, there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing that.
Yeah, no,
appreciate
I
it.
agree.
All right, well, that was
sure.
awesome.
No, that was
Do you
great.
have anything for Jason, honey?
No, but I feel like I want to get an Airbnb here
Do you want
now.
to get it here? I think you should get it here.
See, okay, because before I was thinking I wanted to get it everywhere that I wanted to visit. That's what I was thinking. And I'm like, why would you get one here? Because it just didn't make sense to me. Why would you get one if you're not going to use it? But no, that does make sense.
All right, so I'll give you a tip because
Yeah.
if you are flipping, you find a house, single story, non-HOA, and you remodel it the way you remodel things, I would self-evaluate. Do you think somebody would come and like to visit this house? You're doing a million houses anyway. Just pick one that you really like, that you're like, wow, this killed it. single story pool, non-HOA, kind of corner lot-ish, away from everything, and then really look at
And
it.
I think the
That's
key
good.
word there is visit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would they see this in photos and go, something in me makes me want to go and be inside
Right.
that house?
Do I want to visit this house and come back? Because it's not just one time. It's just like these people will come back next year.
Yeah.
Every year, CES,
Yeah.
whatever they're here for, they'll keep coming back. So
Yeah.
it's like you have a client for life.
That's so cool.
That's true. Yeah.
You're the man, dude. Keep crushing it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you
Krystal. I
so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you so much.
All right. And you know what, Jason, before we end, I'm sorry. Is there anything here, any handles, any plugs? What can we do to promote you for taking the time to be here?
Right.
It's cell phone, I don't know,
How
on
does
your
this
phone or
benefit you?
email or Instagram or website or something.
Yeah, you can follow me in J. Griggs Real Estate. I'm going to start doing more social media for the Airbnbs now that I have it locked in. But I think partnering with other investors on these, I have trouble finding deals. That's one of my things I need to work on. But you and some of the other guys don't. So that's where I would not flourish if I didn't work with other people. And that's something I'm very good at now is I'm willing to do partnerships, and it's been great.
Okay. All right.
Good for you.
Well, thank you again.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Jason.
it.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening.
If you enjoyed the show, please rate, subscribe, and share our podcast. You can also connect with us on social media or at galindogrouprealestate.com.
Until next time, thanks again for listening.